A shocking new conversation is starting to spread around the NHL, and it involves the one player Toronto Maple Leafs fans never expected to worry about. What seemed impossible not long ago is suddenly being talked about by fans, analysts, and hockey insiders. The pressure is growing, the questions are getting louder, and what happens next could change the future of the Maple Leafs forever. For years, the Toronto Maple Leafs believed they had the perfect foundation. Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and John Tavares were supposed to be the group that finally brought a Stanley Cup back to Toronto. Fans waited year after year, believing that this talented core would eventually break through and make a deep playoff run. But now, things feel different. The biggest reason is Mitch Marner's departure. Whether fans agreed with the move or not, his exit marked the end of an important chapter in Maple Leafs history. For nearly a decade, Matthews and Marner were the faces of the franchise. They grew into NHL superstars together. They carried huge expectations together. And every season, fans hoped they would finally lead Toronto to hockey's biggest prize. Now that partnership is over. And while most of the attention has focused on Marner leaving, another conversation has quietly started to grow in the background. The conversation is not about what happened. It is about what could happen next. Right now, Auston Matthews remains the face of the Maple Leafs. He is one of the best goal scorers in the NHL and one of the most important players in franchise history. There are no reports saying he wants to leave Toronto. There are no reports saying he has asked for a trade. In fact, there is no evidence that Matthews is unhappy with the organization at all. But despite that, people are talking. The reason is simple. The Maple Leafs continue to face the same problem every year. During the regular season, the team looks strong. The stars produce points. The wins pile up. The excitement grows. Fans start believing that this could finally be the season everything changes. Then the playoffs arrive. Every superstar wants to win. Every superstar wants a chance to lift the Stanley Cup. The longer a team struggles to reach that goal, the more questions people begin to ask. Not because the player wants out, not because a trade is coming, but because fans understand that championship windows do not stay open forever. And for the Maple Leafs, that reality may be becoming impossible to ignore. As this discussion continues to grow, Maple Leafs fans are becoming divided. One side believes the answer is simple. They believe Auston Matthews should spend his entire career in Toronto. Their argument is easy to understand. Players like Matthews do not come around very often. He is one of the greatest goal scorers of his generation, and many fans believe you never let a player like that leave. But there is another side to the debate. Some fans are starting to wonder what happens if the team continues to fall short year after year. They are not saying Matthews wants to leave. They are not saying a trade is being discussed. Instead, they are looking at the future and asking whether Toronto can build a true Stanley Cup contender around him before time starts to become a factor. That question is why the conversation refuses to disappear. Across the hockey world, people have started discussing possible scenarios. If Toronto struggles again over the next few seasons, what happens then? Could Matthews eventually face the same decision that many other superstar athletes have faced? Could he one day have to choose between staying loyal to one franchise or chasing the best opportunity to win a championship? Again, these are only hypothetical discussions. Nothing suggests that Matthews is considering such a move today. But the fact that fans and analysts are even talking about it shows how much pressure now surrounds the Maple Leafs organization. The departure of Mitch Marner changed more than just the roster. It changed the spotlight. Matthews is now the clear center of everything Toronto does. Every win will be connected to him. Every playoff loss will be connected to him. Every major decision made by the organization will be judged by one question. Does this move help Auston Matthews win a Stanley Cup? That is a massive responsibility for both the player and the franchise. The good news for Toronto is that this story still has a positive ending available. Matthews remains under contract. He remains one of the NHL's biggest stars. The Maple Leafs still have talented players around him. They still have time to build a roster capable of competing with the best teams in hockey. If the organization takes the right steps, this entire conversation could disappear. Winning has a way of solving almost everything. A deep playoff run would change the narrative. A Stanley Cup appearance would change the narrative even more. And if Toronto finally wins a championship, nobody will be talking about Matthews' future anywhere else. But until that happens, the questions will remain. For now, Auston Matthews is still the face of the Maple Leafs, and the player fans trust most. Yet after the end of the Marner era, the future suddenly feels less certain than it once did. The next chapter of Maple Leafs hockey is about to begin, and what happens during the next few seasons could determine not only the future of the franchise, but also the legacy of the biggest star wearing the blue and white.
There's just a general feeling of dismay and disruption, right? Like, and that's natural because the season was so bad. And now Chris Johnston's got a report in The Athletic today saying that Matthews, I guess as of now, not 100% committed to returning next year. Now, he's got 2 years left on his deal, so the Leafs have a say in this clearly. Correct. But if Matthews ever determines, I want out, then he's getting out. Yeah. It would be an absolute gong show if it went public that he wants out and they didn't trade him.
Something feels very wrong inside the Toronto Maple Leafs organization, and fans are starting to notice it. A few shocking words from Auston Matthews have now turned into massive NHL rumors, emotional fan reactions, and growing fear about the future of one of hockey's biggest superstars. But what's happening behind the scenes may be even bigger than anyone expected. The Toronto Maple Leafs are one of the biggest teams in hockey. They have millions of fans, massive pressure, and one goal every single season to win the Stanley Cup. But instead of celebrating success, the team is now surrounded by fear, rumors, and questions about their biggest superstar, Auston Matthews. Over the last few weeks, NHL fans started noticing something strange. Matthews was no longer giving strong answers about his future with the Maple Leafs. During an interview, he said something that instantly shocked the hockey world. Matthews said, "You can't predict the future." Those words were enough to send Maple Leafs fans into full panic mode. Why? Because Matthews is not just another player. He is the captain of the team. He's the face of the franchise. He is one of the greatest goal scorers in the NHL today. Ever since Toronto selected him first overall in the 2016 NHL draft, fans believed he would bring a Stanley Cup back to the city. But now, many people are wondering if Matthews is slowly losing faith in the organization. This season turned into a disaster for Toronto. The Maple Leafs failed to meet expectations again. The team struggled under pressure, and once the season ended, everything started falling apart very quickly. Reports began coming out about major changes inside the organization. The front office entered chaos, management decisions were questioned, and fans started blaming everyone from coaches to executives to star players. Many NHL insiders and media reports started talking about William Nylander becoming a bigger leader inside the organization. Some fans even believe the Maple Leafs are preparing Nylander to become the future face of the franchise if Matthews ever decides to leave. As the rumors kept spreading, NHL fans started looking closer at Auston Matthews' situation in Toronto. And the more people talked about it, the more pressure started building around the Maple Leafs organization. One big reason for the panic is simple. Toronto has had superstar talent for years, but the team still has not delivered the playoff success fans expected. Every season begins with huge hope, and every season seems to end with disappointment. That frustration has slowly turned into anger across the fan base. What if Matthews no longer believes Toronto can win? That question became even louder after reports connected the Maple Leafs to possible leadership changes inside the locker room. William Nylander's name suddenly started appearing everywhere in NHL discussions. Some analysts said Nylander could become the emotional leader of the team moving forward. Others believe Toronto may already be preparing for a future where Matthews is no longer the center of the franchise. For fans, hearing those ideas felt almost impossible to believe. Matthews has been the heart of the Maple Leafs for years. He won awards, scored huge goals, and became one of the most famous players in hockey. Many fans thought he would spend his entire career in Toronto. But now, even small comments from Matthews are creating massive headlines across sports media. And then the Nashville Predators rumors made everything even crazier. Reports claim Nashville could become a team to watch if Matthews ever became available in the future. That instantly grabbed attention because Nashville has been trying to build a stronger contender, and adding a superstar like Matthews would completely change the league. Fans online immediately started debating possible trade scenarios. Some people said Toronto would never let Matthews go. Others believed the pressure, disappointment, and constant criticism could eventually push him away from the organization. At the same time, many fans defended Matthews. They argued that the Maple Leafs failed to build the right team around him. Some blamed poor roster decisions, others blamed management chaos and constant changes behind the scenes. And after another frustrating season, the pressure inside Toronto only became heavier. Still, there is one very important fact fans must remember. Auston Matthews has not asked for a trade. Right now, everything remains speculation and rumors. Matthews is still under contract, and there's been no official confirmation that he wants to leave Toronto. But in sports, fans know one thing very well. Sometimes the biggest stories begin with small signs, strange interviews, and growing tension behind the scenes. That is exactly why this story has exploded across the NHL world. Because for the first time in years, Maple Leafs fans are seriously asking themselves a question they never wanted to imagine. Could the future of Auston Matthews in Toronto actually be in danger? And if that day ever comes, the entire NHL could change forever.
What's the night the team didn't have Auston?
They played very fast, and we weren't very fast. It was just the opposite. They had a good start. We didn't chase in the game.
Something is seriously wrong inside the Edmonton Oilers, and it's not what you think. After their shocking playoff exit, Connor McDavid didn't explode. He didn't get angry. He didn't even react the way fans expected. Instead, insiders say the team looked completely broken. And what Elliotte Friedman just revealed about that locker room might be the most worrying sign yet. But the real truth gets even
in the intermission
worse.
When
this wasn't just
down,
another.
Well, someone texted me and they said, "Do you think McDavid will ask for a trade if they don't come back tonight?" I was like, "No, I don't think so." And then, like the whole third period, especially when the Ducks scored again to really put it away, the whole third period it was like, "Do you think McDavid's going to ask for a trade if they lose this game?" There was a lot of that, and I do not believe we're at that point now. I don't. I think that's his current deal that you're showing right now. He signed a 2-year extension at $12.5 million, so they have him signed for 2 more years. I don't think he's asking for a trade right now.
This wasn't just another playoff loss. This felt different. The Edmonton Oilers were knocked out early, and fans expected the usual reaction. In the past, when this team lost, you could see anger. You could feel the frustration. Players like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl would show emotion. It looked like they were ready to come back stronger. But this time, something changed. According to NHL insider Elliotte Friedman, the reaction inside the Oilers locker room was not anger. It was silence. The players didn't look furious. They didn't look shocked. They looked calm, almost like they already knew this was coming. And that is what scared people the most. Friedman explained that instead of playing like a top team, the Oilers looked average this season. That's a huge problem when you have the best player in the world on your team. Connor McDavid is supposed to lead a championship roster, but this year, the team around him just didn't match that level. One of the biggest issues was defense. The Oilers struggled to stop opponents in key moments. They gave up chances too easily, and in the playoffs, that always costs you games. Then there was goaltending. It was inconsistent. Some nights were good, but other nights just weren't enough to win at a high level. When you combine weak defense and shaky goaltending, even a superstar like McDavid can't carry the team. And deep down, the players seemed to know it. That's why the reaction looked so different. It wasn't anger because there was nothing to be surprised about. It was more like acceptance. Acceptance that the team just wasn't good enough. That doesn't mean everything is okay, because time is running out. McDavid has about 2 years left on his deal, and that changes everything for the organization. The Oilers don't have unlimited time anymore. They must act fast. They must build a team that can win now, not later. And that's where the pressure becomes very real. After the playoff exit, reports say the team will not panic and trade their superstar. Instead, they are expected to look inside and fix what's broken. This means big talks are coming. Tough conversations. The kind that can change a locker room. Management will start asking serious questions. Is the defense strong enough? Is the goaltending reliable? Are the right players around McDavid? Because if the answer is no, changes are coming. Some players may not fit anymore. Some roles may need to change. And the front office has to make smart decisions very quickly. They cannot waste another season like this. And then there's something even more important. McDavid's mindset. After this loss, he didn't show anger. He didn't call anyone out. He stayed calm. But sometimes, silence can say more than words. It can mean frustration is building quietly. Fans are starting to notice this. They're asking, how long will he stay patient? How long will he trust the process? Because every year without a championship adds more pressure, not just on the team, but on McDavid's legacy. He is one of the greatest players in the world, but in sports, winning matters. And right now, that success is missing. That's why this moment is so important. The Oilers are standing at a turning point. They can either fix the problems and give McDavid a real chance to win, or risk losing control of the situation in the future. For now, the plan is clear. Rest the players, reset the mindset, make changes, come back stronger. But here's the big question no one can answer yet. Will those changes be enough? Because if the same problems continue, if the team still falls short, then this quiet reaction we just saw might turn into something much bigger. And next time, it might not be silence.
They announced the nominees for the Ted Lindsay Award, and your nominees are Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks. You can see the numbers there for Celebrini. What a year that young man had. Almost pushed the Sharks into the playoffs. Nikita Kucherov, he is a two-time Ted Lindsay Award winner, and he is nominated once again. And then, of course, Connor McDavid, a four-time Lindsay Award winner.
Something inside the NHL just flipped overnight, and fans did not see it coming. A list was released, but one name on it changed everything. Two of the biggest stars in hockey were expected. The third name shocked players across the league. This was not a media vote. This came from the players themselves, and what they decided is now raising serious attention across the sport. The announcement came from the Ted Lindsay Award, one of the most respected honors in hockey. This award is not chosen by reporters or analysts. It is voted by NHL players. These are the same players who compete on the ice every game. Their vote reflects direct experience against opponents during the season. The finalists were officially confirmed as Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, and Macklin Celebrini. This list was reported by Reuters as a star-studded trio. The first two names followed expected patterns based on performance. The third name changed the discussion immediately. Connor McDavid's selection came after another strong season. He remained one of the top point producers in the league. His role in the Edmonton Oilers offense continued to be central. He led plays, controlled puck movement, and contributed heavily to scoring chances. McDavid has already won this award multiple times in past seasons. His inclusion matched his consistent performance record. Nikita Kucherov also secured his place based on measurable output. He ranked among the top scorers during the season. His performance included goals and assists across multiple game situations. He contributed strongly on the power play and during even strength play. Kucherov's presence on the list reflected his steady offensive production. The focus quickly shifted to the third finalist. Macklin Celebrini's inclusion introduced a different type of player into the same category. He is at an early stage in his NHL career. Despite that, his performance this season placed him in direct comparison with experienced players. His ice time, scoring contribution, and consistency across games supported his position among finalists. The reaction to this finalist list focused on how the voting reflects direct competition. Players face each other across a full season. They track speed, control, and decision-making in real time. This makes the Ted Lindsay Award different from awards decided by media members. The selection shows which players stand out during actual gameplay situations, and that distinction remains central after the announcement. Connor McDavid's performance continued to follow a consistent pattern. He remained among league leaders in assists and total points. His ability to control puck movement and create scoring opportunities stayed constant across games. His ice time remained high, and he played a central role in offensive sequences for the Edmonton Oilers. These measurable factors supported his position among finalists without deviation. Nikita Kucherov's season also aligned with statistical output. He maintained a high scoring rate and contributed across multiple game situations. His role in Tampa Bay's offense remained stable. He produced both goals and assists while maintaining efficiency during power play opportunities. His inclusion reflected sustained production across the regular season, and his numbers remain among the top in the league. Macklin Celebrini's placement introduced a different set of data points. His performance came during the early stage of his NHL